The How to Train Your Dragon franchise from DreamWorks Animation consists of two feature films, How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon 2, with a third planned for a 2016 release. The franchise is loosely based on the English book series by Cressida Cowell. The franchise also consists of three short films, Legend of the Boneknapper Dragon, Book of Dragons, and Gift of the Night Fury. A television series, Dragons, Riders of Berk, began airing on Cartoon Network in September 2012. Its second season was renamed Dragons, Defenders of Berk. The franchise follows the adventures of a young Viking named Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, son of Stoick the Vast, leader of the Viking island of Berk. Although initially dismissed as a clumsy and underweight misfit, he soon becomes renowned as a courageous expert in dragons, beginning with Toothless, a member of the rare Night Fury breed, as his flying mount and his closest companion. Together with his friends, he manages the village's allied dragon population in defense of his home as leader of a flying corps of dragon riders. Dean DeBlois, the director of the trilogy, described its story as Hiccup's coming of age, taking a span of 5 years between the first and second film, while explaining why dragons no longer exist. Film series, How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon, the first film in the series, was released on March 26, 2010. It was directed by Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders. The film is loosely based on the 2003 book of the same name by Cressida Cowell. The film grossed nearly $500 million worldwide, and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. The story takes place in a mythical Viking world where a young Viking teenager named Hiccup aspires to follow his tribe's tradition of becoming a dragon slayer. After finally capturing his first dragon, and with his chance at finally gaining the tribe's acceptance, he finds that he no longer has the desire to kill it and instead befriends it. How to Train Your Dragon 2. A sequel, How to Train Your Dragon 2, was confirmed on April 27, 2010. The film was written and directed by Dean DeBlois, the co-director of the first film. Bonnie Arnold, the producer of the first film, also returned, with Chris Sanders, who co-directed the first film, only exit producing this time due to his involvement with The Croods and its sequel. The film was released on June 13, 2014. It was announced that the entire original voice cast Baruchel, Butler, Ferguson, Ferreira, Hill, Mintz-Plasse, Miller and Weiger would return for the sequel. New cast includes Kit Harington as Eret, Kate Blanket as Valka, and Jimon Hounsou as Drago Bloodbeast. John Powell, the composer of the first score, will also return for the second and third film. An interview with Dean DeBlois revealed this about the sequel: at the end of last film, all these Vikings who were previously somewhat landlocked are now on the backs of dragons, so the entire northern hemisphere opens up to them. And with that Hiccup unregistered trademark curiosity increases, the map expands and inevitably they are going to come across new dragons and new cultures. How to Train Your Dragon 3. In December 2010, DreamWorks CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg confirmed that there would also be a third film in the series. How to Train Your Dragon is at least 3, maybe more, but we know there are at least 3 chapters to that story. Dean DeBlois, the writer and director of the second and the third film, said that How to Train Your Dragon 2 is being intentionally designed as the second act of the trilogy. There are certain characters and situations that come into play in the second film that will become much more crucial to the story by the third. DeBlois said in an interview that the third part will be released in 2016. Although the series has taken a different path of telling a story of Hiccup and Vikings, Cressida Cowell has revealed that the trilogy and the book series will share their ends. In September 2012, 20th Century Fox and DreamWorks Animation announced the release date for June 18, 2016, which was later changed to June 17, 2016. The film is being produced by Bonnie Arnold, and exec produced by Dean DeBlois and Chris Sanders. Jay Baruchel, Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, America Ferrera, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, T.J. Miller and Kristen Wiig are set to return in the third film. Television series, DreamWorks Dragons. On October 12, 2010 it was announced that Cartoon Network had acquired worldwide broadcast rights to a weekly animated series based on the movie, which was scheduled to begin sometime in 2012. In January 2011, producer Tim Johnson confirmed that work had begun in the series and that, unlike the TV series spin-offs of the films Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda and Monsters vs. Aliens, How to Train Your Dragon series is much darker and deeper, like the movie. The show is the first DreamWorks Animation series that airs on Cartoon Network instead of Nickelodeon, unlike previous series such as The Penguins of Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, Legends of Awesomeness and Monsters vs. Aliens. Although it was announced that the series would be called Dragons, the series, TV promos shown in June 2012 revealed a new title, Dragons, Riders of Berk. The series began airing in the third quarter of 2012. John Sanford, the director of 7 episodes in the first season, confirmed that there would also be a second season. Jay Baruchel, who voiced Hiccup, also stars in the series, as well as America Ferrera, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, and T.J. Miller. The second season is accompanied with a new subtitle, Defenders of Berk, replacing the previous Riders of Berk subtitle. Short films, Legend of the Boneknapper Dragon. Legend of the Boneknapper Dragon is a 16-minute sequel short film to the feature film, How to Train Your Dragon. The short was originally broadcast on television on October 14, 2010 on Cartoon Network, and released next day as a special feature on Blu-ray and double DVD edition of the original feature film. The film follows Hiccup and his young fellows accompanying their mentor, Gobber, on a quest to kill the legendary Boneknapper Dragon. About half the film is done in traditional animation, showing Gobber's history and his encounters with the Boneknapper, and how he comes to look like he does now. As it turns out, the Boneknapper has been after Gobber because he had found the one bone it needed to complete his own coat of bone armor, and was using it to keep his pants up. Book of Dragons. Book of Dragons is an 18-minute short film, based on How to Train Your Dragon, and was released on November 15, 2011, on DVD and Blu-ray, along with Gift of the Night Fury. The short shows Hiccup, Astrid, Fishlegs, Toothless and Gobber telling the legend behind the Book of Dragons and revealing insider training secrets about new, never-before-seen dragons. The short shows a total of 14 wyverns, each spread into 7 breeds, Stoker, Boulder, Fear, Sharp, Tidal, Mystery and Strike. Gift of the Night Fury. Gift of the Night Fury is a 22-minute How to Train Your Dragon Christmas special, directed by Tom Owens. It was released on November 15, 2011, on DVD and Blu-ray, along with Book of Dragons. Based on How to Train Your Dragon, the short takes place in the middle of preparing for the Viking winter holiday, Snorgelitog, when suddenly all the dragons inexplicably go on a mass migration, except for Toothless, so Hiccup gives him something to help. Dawn of the Dragon Racers, a short film, titled Dawn of the Dragon Racers, will be released on November 11, 2014, on the digital release of How to Train Your Dragon 2. Release, box office performance, critical reaction, cast and characters. Note, a dark gray cell indicates the character was not in the film. Crew, video games. An action-adventure video game released by Activision called How to Train Your Dragon was released for the Wii, Xbox 360, PS3 and Nintendo DS gaming consoles. It is loosely based on the film and was released on March 23, 2010. Superstar Karts video game was released by Activision on November 15, 2011, for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS, and Nintendo 3DS. The game features 14 different characters from DreamWorks films, How to Train Your Dragon, Madagascar, Shrek, and Monsters vs. Aliens. Dragons, Tap Dragon Drop, a mobile video game, developed by Pickpock, was released on May 3, 2012, on App Store for iPhone, iPad and iPod Touch. Dragons, Wild Skies, a 3D virtual world game based on the television series DreamWorks Dragons has been launched on August 27, 2012, on CartoonNetwork.com. The game allows players to find, train and ride wild dragons, including new ones as they are introduced in the series. School of Dragons, a 3D educational massively multiplayer online role-playing game produced by Jumpstart, was released online in July 2013, after a month-long beta testing. A Facebook version was released in October 2013, followed by an iPad app in December 2013, and a version for Android-powered tablets in March 2014. In the game, each player is able to adopt, raise and train a dragon, while learning how they function. Dragon's Adventure, an augmented reality game, was released in November 2013, exclusively for Nokia Lumia 2520. Dragons, Rise of Berk is a free game which allows players to build their own Berk village, send Hiccup and Toothless out on exploration, hatch and collect up to 30 dragons and train their own dragon at the academy. Developed by Ludia, it was released in May 2014 for iOS, and on June 20, 2014 for Android and Facebook. How to Train Your Dragon 2, an action-adventure game, was released in June 2014 for Xbox 360, Nintendo 3DS, Wii U and PlayStation 3. The game was published by Little Orbit. Live shows, Ice Show, a Broadway-style production named How to Train Your Dragon on Ice, is currently on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas. Arena Show. How to Train Your Dragon Live Spectacular or How to Train Your Dragon Arena Spectacular is an arena show adaptation of the feature film How to Train Your Dragon. The show is being produced in partnership with Global Creatures, the company behind another arena show Walking with Dinosaurs, The Arena Spectacular, and directed by Nigel Jameson. The score was composed by John Powell and Jacques Si from Saiga Rankin Cubed S. Arena Spectacular features 24 animatronic dragons, 10 different species in various sizes: Nada, Grunkle, Nightmare, Night Fury, Red Death, Skrill, Stinger, Kite Dragon, Zipperback and Egg Biter. It also features villagers and Vikings, including Hiccup, Astrid, Stoick, and Gobber. The show premiered as How to Train Your Dragon Arena Spectacular on March 3, 2012, in Melbourne, Australia, and was followed by a New Zealand tour in April 2012. Renamed to How to Train Your Dragon Live Spectacular, it toured United States and Canada between June 2012 and January 2013, when it was cancelled in favor of taking the show to China, where it will premiere in the middle of 2014. References. External links: official website, DreamWorks Animation's School of Dragons.